For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Folta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
Hey, everybody, welcome on in to your Wednesday Odd Man Rush edition of Mammoth Daily. Adrian Denny with you, Matt McConnell, Nick Olczyk, and Mike Folta will be along in just a few moments with Mike's morning after. We'll hear from head coach Andre Tourigny along with Dylan Guenther and Clayton Keller after the 3-2 victory in Washington for the Mammoth on Tuesday night as they open the 5-game road trip with a victory. Business as usual for the Mammoth, now 8-2 after a loss since mid-December, now 4-0 opening a multi-game road trip since mid-December, and 6-2 this year overall in the first game of a multi-game road trip. It was just business as usual for the guys after a game on Sunday that wasn't quite business as usual. But the contest on Tuesday, if there was any question, I think re-solidified. Okay, this team's here. This team's legit. This is a playoff team. And this is a pivotal year for the Mammoth. And there's expectations. And the players know it. And the coaches know it. And the fans have the expectation. And management has set the expectation. And there's been some adversity. November and December, right? There's been some great moments. How about the 7-game winning streak in October? There's been some great homestands. 6-0-1 in January. The moments have been there. And it's a young team looking to get into the playoffs for the first time, looking to solidify themselves as a playoff team. And they've got some great veterans. They've got 9 Stanley Cup rings in that locker room. And they also have 9 guys who have never made the playoffs before. It's a different game. It's a different animal. And now, March and April, you're in it. This is it. This is where you make the move. And the Mammoth are in that first wildcard spot. They're controlling their destiny. But they're the hunted now. They've always been the huntees. They're being hunted. Teams are coming after them. Teams want that spot. And I think the overall body of work for this group through 61 games is exactly where you hoped, right, to be. And the team's got a record of 32, 25, and 4 and a good spot. And above that playoff line, they've got a cushion and they've got a tiebreaker. And it's a year where you have a game like Chicago, or you have a game like Carolina where you can't quite hold on. The Sunday afternoon against Columbus, Logan Cooley gets hurt and you lose 3 games in a row. And, you know, these guys know what the expectation is, and there's pressure, and sure, they've felt it. And after the game against Chicago on Sunday, quite frankly, it's just a game you just can't lose at home. And they went to DC. They had the day off on Monday. There was no practice. They were away from the game, but with each other on the road. And we talked about the change of pace on Sunday and how that's something that it might be a good time for, to go on the road for 5 games and 8 nights and be together every single moment. And to have that day off yesterday after the game Sunday probably couldn't have come at a better time. And then to come out and watch that game on Tuesday, I think you're watching it and you're like, okay, Sunday was Sunday, but this team's legit as we go back to the body of work. 14-6-1 in 2026 to get where they are. So liked it Tuesday. Not going to get too high. Wasn't going to get too low after the game on Sunday. It's the overall body of work. And Tuesday, I think, was a real exclamation point to the, okay, this is it. We're a playoff team and we know it. And we need to play better when we play teams like the Chicago Blackhawks at home. But big picture, overall, we just went in and beat a Washington team 2 points below the playoff line with an identical home record as us and held on for a 1-goal win when they were attacking, when they were coming in the third period. And if you're Utah, I think that's a real boost. And I don't think there's any, sense of nervousness, sense of stress, but sense of pressure. But for this group, they know where they want to be, and they're doing it for the first time. They are embarking as the hunted for the first time. And it's different. You work through it, you go through it. And we know they're legitimate. We know they bounce back after losses well. We know they start road trips strong. We know they're a good home team. And there's the other 5 to 10% right now of, okay, but every single night, are we who we want to be 100% of the time? No, nobody is. But to stay at the level that you are when you beat Minnesota, when you beat Washington on the road, to Chicago, as you get to, the top 3 in the division where you want to be, right? That's the difference between being wild card and top 3. But they're growing, and they've made tremendous strides this year, being the hunteds where you want to be. But that's your next challenge. That's your next box to check here over the final now 21 games after the 3-2 victory. But I like the game. Mammoth came out strong from the outset, got that goal from Dylan Guenther, and watch Clayton Keller, for those of you on Mammoth Plus and SEG Plus, takes 2 hits. There's the second one from Tom Wilson to Guenther for the goal. But Clayton Keller took a hit from Ryan Leonard in the neutral zone first, right off the hop, as you watch it right here. First thing you see right there. And then he takes the big hit from Wilson, who hits, but was able to return it back to Guenther and took 2 hits to make 2 plays to make a goal for the Mammoth. And it was all about the start on Tuesday night. And that's what set the tone for the Mammoth to get things going in that game and on this trip. Let's hear from Dylan Guenther.
I think just the start was important. Just building that confidence and getting back to our hockey right away, and I thought it led into the rest of the game. Yeah, I think just momentum. 5-game trip, long trip. Playing some teams we don't see a ton, and then playing some divisional matchups. So a little bit of everything. It's nice to get on the road, be with the guys, and have some fun, win some games.
Guenther, 28th of the year right there. New career high for him. Last year was his first full NHL season, but in his second full NHL season, already breaking the career high with 21 games left to go. As Clayton Keller now 60 points in 61 games, 20 multiple point games. He's got 12 in the last 26, and he's got 4 in the last 6. As the Mammoth Stars were their stars on Tuesday night. All the points came from guys on top 6 forward lines, be it on the 5-on-5 right there on the first goal, or the power plays on goals 2 and 3. And Dursey and Sergachev chipped in on that first defensive pairing. So guys came out, they got it back, and a win's a win. That's how you want to start this trip. And being in the moment, living in the moment. Bear probably doesn't want to hear me say 2-2 gets you 6 to 10 points on the trip, but you win 1 game, Columbus and Philly. You win 1 game, Chicago and Minnesota. It's a 3-2 trip, 6 to 10 points. To me, that's an A+ right there. And this is a group that shot higher than my expectations and my goals here in the second half of the season into January, February, and March. Let's hear from Utah head coach Andre Tourigny on his hockey club on Tuesday night and closing it out against Washington.
The energy from where the energy on the bench, the boys were into it. They were urgent. They were emotionally involved in the game. I really liked that. Their prep was good. You could feel the energy before the game. You never know how the game will roll. You know, we knew we'll play well, but there's luck in a hockey game where there's, without calling that luck, it will be better to say opportunistic on one side or the other, and that can change the game totally. So never know how that will roll, but I was confident the boys were ready. Love the response, love the speed of our game. Obviously, power play came big. Veggie made key save at the end, so there's a lot of positive in our game. I like. I think they had a push at the end, which expected, but I like the pressure we apply on them on their 6-on-5. So they had to execute really quickly, and they did a good job, but they could not get high quality. So I'm happy about that.
Washington was a team that had almost half a dozen 6-on-5 goals going into the game last night. And the Mammoth and Karel Vejmelka there to backstop them. And for Veggie, it's another Mammoth victory where the opposition gets 2 goals or less. He stopped 23 of 25, stopped all 12 shots in the final 20 minutes, league-leading 29th win for Karel Vejmelka. Let's get to the guys. Let's get to Matt McConnell, Nick Olczyk, and Mike Folta. Let's hear their thoughts on Mike's morning after.
Your 2 play-by-play studs. Coming to you from the bowels of Capital One Arena, where the Mammoths just won 3-2 over the Washington Capitals. Mike Folta, Matt McConnell. Matty, Washington pushed really hard at the end of this game. Yeah. I thought it was a mature win for this team. What did you make of it?
Well, I'll tell you what, we talked at the top on the television side, Mike, about, you need your veterans, your leaders to lead, right? And I think they did a great job of that here tonight. Sergachev scoring, Clayton Keller having a big game. And then in the third period, Karel Vejmelka was unbelievable. He was so good. And they had that big push after the 3-2 goal from Leonard. So, again, we were just talking about it off camera. They're so resilient. Yeah. And I think that's a sign of maturity in the entire group.
How about the power play? Big storyline of this game. Yeah. It goes a perfect 4 for 4 in the game. Yeah. Both sides, unfortunately. But an area where Utah struggled becomes strength here tonight. And, we saw that first power play group get benched on Sunday, but boy, they were lights out here in this game tonight.
Fantastic. 4 of the 5 goals were scored on the power play. I can't remember the last time both teams went perfect, right, on the power play, each 2 for 2. So it was amazing. Really good to see that. And they're starting to get opportunities. They're starting to figure it out. And you know what? We're going to have a guest here in about 30 seconds. But anyway, that's a tease in the business, guys. Yeah, they were phenomenal.
I'm going to stall for about 20 paces here. We're talking about something very important. And all right, that wraps it up. Oh,
yeah.
Hello?
Whoa.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hello?
I think my camera just broke.
Hi, guys.
Come on in there,
Nikki, we were talking about the resilience of this team. We were talking about power play. We were talking how about this? The two of the best 5-on-5 teams in the league, and 4 of the 5 goals are on the power play.
Yeah, and on the TV side, coming into the game, Maddie and I tried to stress the importance of the leaders leading by example.
We already covered that. You were late, so
I wasn't late.
Fine.
I wasn't late. I was tending to other things. But anyway, the leaders found a way to come through. But yes, at 5-on-5, this team, look, there was a push. There was a push from the Washington Capitals. With credit to the Utah Mammoth, they found a way to withstand it. They survived the storm.
I gotta ask you about the line changes, because these lines were thrown in a blender here tonight. And it seems that every time Bear shuffles the deck, this team responds in a positive way. What do you guys think?
It's one thing for a coach to do it, and another thing for the players. Why are you laughing?
I just can't believe it.
It's another thing. It's another thing for the players to go out and do it. Look, the coach can only do so much. Coach can set the lineup. The coach can set the structure. And you can't take me serious with these things, huh? Anyway, but it's up to the players. Hold on, let me get. It's up to the players to go out and execute the game plan. I can barely see you. You look, there's 7 of you here, but it's up to the players to be able to go and execute the game plan. And the leaders did it tonight to a T from the jump. Heck of a first period. And as we knew, there was going to be a push from the Capitals.
But they jumped. They jumped to start the game like one of these.
Well, it's a play on words, Matty. Could play on
sneak a 8.5 by 11 under that.
And back in intramural basketball in college, they called me Sky McConnell.
They did. It's not true. They did.
They definitely didn't call you Sight McConnell because these things are like holy.
He's like Velma. You take his glasses off and all of a sudden he's on all fours.
Easy. These things are at least $4.99.
Yeah, $4.99 from Walmart.
Before I run out of storage again on my iPhone 6, any final thoughts on up to now?
You know what? Set the tone. Get off to a great start. They've done that. Their ability to bounce back, seriously, and we keep talking about that. But I think that has been a big key to this whole season. My old partner Tyson Nash, he always said you can't lose more than 3 in a row, right? And they just haven't done that. So move on to Philly. Road trip continues. We're going to be in Nick's hometown next weekend.
Oh,
yeah.
Some good eating at the Olczyk house too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hungry.
Can't
boys.
wait.
I'm hungry.
Can't wait.
Good.
Because if they don't have it at the Olczyk household, they sure as hell don't make it.
And as Nick likes to say, if you leave hungry, it's your own fault. Thanks, guys.
Greatly appreciate the guys battling internet service, battling iPhone 6 issues for Mike, and the fun that they have with us here on Mammoth Daily and all the work that they put in and joining us from the road to give us the inside scoop from on the ground. Another big thing for the Mammoth, and we talked about it last week, the power play is now 6 for the last 17. They've scored 6 power play goals in their last 6 games, and you could feel it coming. They're doing the stuff you need to do to have success on the power play. Quick strikes, retrievals, and back to work. Snap passes, shot, retrieve, back to work. And that's what they've been doing on the power play. And that's why they're having success. Had a power play goal in 4 straight games. It wasn't the only thing on Sunday that didn't quite snap together. But now a power play goal in 5 of 6, and with 2 on Tuesday night, the Mammoth now have 6 power play goals in their last 6. They went a perfect 2 for 2. It's their 3rd game of the year with 2 power play goals, but they're starting to get into the groove, and you can see it in that second unit, getting a power play goal right there for those of you on YouTube and Mammoth Plus for the first time since December, after Mikhail Sergachev buried one for the Mammoth for his 10th goal of the year, his 5th on the power play from Keller and Guenther to give Utah a 2-0 lead, 2 minutes and 11 seconds after Dylan Guenther made it a 1-0 contest, and the Mammoth were off and running. Let's hear from the guys talking about the power play and what's leading to the success.
It's been a work in progress, and we've been watching a lot of video and talking about it a lot, doing extra video with just our units, kind of breaking it down, and I think it's helping a lot. Just doing the extra. Sometimes you're going to go through a slump, and ultimately that makes you better as a group.
So there's Captain Clayton Keller talking about that Utah power play, 6 for the last 17. That's over 33% in the last 6. So the Mammoth get back on track, start the trip with a win, keep that cushion in the Western Conference wildcard race. By the way, on Tuesday night, Edmonton came from behind, so they've moved back into the top 3 in the Pacific, and Seattle is now in the second wild card, and the Mammoth are 1 point ahead of the Kraken after that 3-2 victory in Washington. We've got an odd man rush coming up with President of Hockey Operations Chris Armstrong. So excited to talk to Chris. We'll talk about this team, their run they've been on since January, taking advantage of the home games, getting ready for potential playoffs, and how much fun we've had inviting the public to the Utah Mammoth Ice Center over the last couple weeks. So Chris is coming up next in our Odd Man Rush. And then in our third period, we're going to talk about pace, because it's been a big topic for the Mammoth in terms of how they want to play, what they want to do, and what leads to their success. So stay close. We're rolling right back on this Wednesday Odd Man Rush edition of Mammoth Daily with President of Hockey Operations Chris Armstrong.
It's time for your Wednesday Odd Man Rush.
We've got Utah Mammoth team president Chris Armstrong here with us on our Wednesday Odd Man Rush. And Chris, we're here at the Utah Mammoth Ice Center. Let's start with that. Opened just a little bit ago, and we saw the community outpouring coming here to practices, and it just feels like a beacon of hockey here in Sandy.
Absolutely. Yeah. We had our opening weekend, and we brought 6,500 people through the facility through our various programming, and kudos to our youth team, Kristen Bonus, Nate Martinez, and marketing team, the whole project team for the grand opening. It was a heavy lift. You know, we've worked really hard to get this facility ready to share it with the public as a community asset, which we've always tried to position as. And we really believe that to be the case. The opportunity to not only see us practice. We had 300 or so fans for each of our open practices last weekend. Was really excited to see all those kids with smiles on their faces up close to our stars, and for them to see the work ethic and the commitment, the skill level firsthand, hopefully inspires them. But as we've talked about, just hopefully it inspires people just to have a passion for being on the ice. Set aside the hockey piece. We love that, of course, but just people wanting to be at the rink, people wanting to be at the ice. And now being able to provide 2 more sheets to the community for community programming, youth hockey, adult hockey, figure skating, the whole gamut. It's really exceptional for us.
The extension of welcoming people to the Ice Center here, because the first year and a half, it's been great. We've got the Delta Center. Fans can watch the games. They can tune in on television, on the radio, and we've got the team. There's the community aspect that this is Utah's team, but to have this right here in Sandy, folks driving by can pop in. They can come in and you never know what they're going to see. You know, they've got the lobby with the snack bar, but to welcome them in here and be a part of it in this aspect, in addition to all that we've got with the games and the TV and the radio, is so cool.
There's no question. And people have seen this building rise from the ground here over the last year and a half or so, and have definitely had curiosity. We had lots of people looking through the windows before we were open to see what was happening in here. So lots of great anticipation and excitement. And the reality is more people are going to interact with the brand, the Utah Mammoth, in this facility, in our Utah Mammoth Ice Center, than anywhere else. Right. And that's really exciting for us, because we hope this becomes not only our headquarters, but also the home of hockey for all of Utah. And the opportunity for people to come in and engage with our players and our staff and feel like they're part of our operation, I think is very unique in sports, and certainly something that we want to continue to offer to meet the excitement and support that we've received.
It's been fun kind of talking with different staff members here, Pat Murphy being one of them, talking about looking around at different rinks and things like that. When you guys looked around the league at other teams that have maybe a similar setup where they've welcomed the community in, what were some things that you tried to take from different setups across the rest of the NHL?
Yeah, I think everything is engineered around the customer experience. When people come through our Utah Mammoth Ice Center, we want them to feel a part of everything that's happening here, the energy, whether they're playing in the games or watching us practice, if it's parents watching youth hockey or dropping their kids off for public skating. We want the experience here to be as seamless as possible and also as intimate as possible. So the flow, always creating these collisions and interactions between people who are obviously here with a shared purpose and for a shared experience, and giving them the opportunity as members of the community to interact with each other and share their passion and love for hockey and for being here, and hopefully their love and passion for the Utah Mammoth. So that was really, I think, the main thing for us, is making sure the customer experience from the time they park the car to getting their kid ready for learn to skate or learn to play is a seamless experience, and one that they think in the sense of recreational and community sports is one of the best in the market.
What are the goals for growing hockey and youth hockey? Because there's so many programs. You can come in, you can rent a pair of skates, you can learn to play, you can play in a league. There's really something for every level of somebody to come be involved and be on that ice.
Absolutely. And at SEG, the youth part of our offering is extremely important. We see that on the jazz side, 70,000 kids in the junior jazz program. So we have this amazing infrastructure and experience inside of our own organization that we can tap into for hockey. And now we have a home to do it in. And not to say that we aren't going to continue to be out everywhere else in the community across the state, supporting the growth and development of youth hockey there as well. But now we have a home base to do it. And we have a great team internally at SEG who's very hungry and motivated. We have ownership in Ryan and Ashley Smith who are very committed to reinvesting in the community through youth programming. So we're excited about what the future holds.
Switching gears a little bit, we're a little bit removed from the Olympics. Sorry. By the way, sorry.
Play my Canadian cheers. Yeah.
But it feels like, and we heard you talking about this on the TV side a little bit the other night, feels like hockey's having a moment. And maybe that moment extends even back to last year with the Four Nations. But how do you marry this sport-wide moment for hockey with what's going on here in the state of Utah?
Yeah, I think there's tremendous enthusiasm for the sport right now. It is a cultural moment for hockey, and you're right. Dating back to the Four Nations last year, through more recent excitement and engagement through series like Heated Rivalry and all the attention and new eyeballs that's brought to the sport. All of these things are net positive because people are paying attention to hockey. Hockey's becoming part of the lexicon and in day-to-day conversation, and then you have an amplifying event like the Olympics in general, best on best competition at a time when the game has never been played with this level of speed and skill, and where the young players in the game are not afraid to show their personality.
Yep.
And then you have the marquee matchup of USA versus Canada. It couldn't have worked better in both the men's and women's side of the tournament, and to have the US on top in both the women's game and the men's game, I think is hugely additive to the growth of the sport and the business of the sport here in the US. I think at times, and fairly so, there's a tendency for the casual fan or the average person to have perceived hockey as Canada's sport.
Mm-hmm.
And now that America's on top, I think young Americans in particular see it through a different lens, perhaps, and have an even greater interest in being involved, being a fan, playing the game. That can only mean good things. And then when you look at it in the context of our market, when you have all these young people who watched Clayton Keller win Olympic gold and can then envision in 2034 having that gold medal game at Delta Center, I think it is a very unique and exceptional opportunity for us. Yeah.
How great is it to have all the connections to not only Utah, but the Mammoth winning the gold? Hillary Knight and Taylor Heisey have been engaged with our programs and on our ice playing with our guys, and Clayton Keller coming back with the gold, and Oli Mata with the bronze, and JJ Peterka and Karel Vejmelka with the great representation as well over in Milan.
I think for our fans and the kids in our market, it makes this feel attainable, aspiration, to know that the players that you see on the ice at Delta Center in our facility is a great example. Hillary Knight's been a great support of our youth programs and skates with the guys in the off season for summer training. So has a good connection to our market and our fan base, makes her home here now. And so I think the main thing about that is if you're a young person in our market, you see that as attainable. It's real. It's right in front of you. It's something you can aspire to.
We have the Olympic stars, but we got another star back in the lineup the other night, Logan Cooley as well. Organizationally, financially, culturally, how important is it for a team to have stars whose impact transcends maybe just goals, assists, and points on the ice, but someone who has that stardom at the next level, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Getting both Logan and Kerf back for this stretch run is extremely important. They're both dynamic players. They both work extremely hard and been great through their rehab process and being around, continue to support the guys and put that work in to get back as quickly as they can. They're both important players for us. We know what Logan brings and how he can impact the game. And so getting him back at this time of year in particular is very important. But then also, again, for our market, he's one of the stars of our team. For our fans to have him back and to be able to be thrilled by the things that he can do on the ice night in and night out, and know that our chances of making the playoffs are better when he's in the lineup. Of course, that's all net positive.
Yeah. This team throughout the season is hit the benchmarks that we've talked about, being in a playoff spot at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, at the Olympic break. But in January, during the 7-game homestand, we really saw things kick into gear as we expected, while the schedule was friendly, and the team was able to take advantage of that on home ice in front of the fans at the Delta Center. How big of a statement was that to go into the break and coming back out of it with that momentum here, looking to make that move?
I think it was really important. It was important for the confidence of our group as well, because we knew how important that homestand was, and to be able to take advantage of it in the way that we did, I think was validating to the group. And also we played some really good hockey in that homestand, and we had some nights where we weren't at our best, but still found ways to win, which is also important, because we're going to have to do a lot more of that here in the final games. So I think, the fact that we've played as much on the road as we have and have logged as many miles on the road as we have, we always looked at this part of the schedule as one we needed to take advantage of. We are a good road team. We're a tough team to play on the road, but we know when we have the wind at our back with our fans at Delta Center and how loud the building is and how much energy that our fans bring to our players, that we got to take advantage of those games at the Delta Center.
Last one, and then we'll let you go. We really appreciate the time. Cool. But you're talking about this stretch run, and the Mammoth have put themselves in a really good situation here coming down the stretch. What does kind of the visualization of playoff games at the Delta Center look like? Because we've had a lot of games that we say, they feel like a playoff atmosphere, but when you get to the dance, it's a totally different feeling. And I guess from your perspective, what does that look like? What's that going to feel like?
Yeah, I think the prospect of it excites all of us for sure. And I think it'll be an even higher level of what we've called playoff-like atmosphere at Delta Center. I think we can only imagine. The roof better be bolted on tight. There's no question. And the prospect of that excites our players, excites everybody in our organization. To bring playoff hockey to this market for the first time is something we're all aspiring to. And I know our guys will give it their best, and hopefully we stay healthy and we can take care of business here. One of the things we said going into the break is the players have put themselves in a position to control their own destiny. And in sports, that's all you ever want, is the opportunity to control your own destiny, not have to rely on the performance of other teams or results or outcomes of other teams, but just worry about what we can do. And that's the only thing we can control.
No, we're excited for it, Chris. Thank you again for the time. And we're locked and loaded for these last 20-something games. So
pleasure.
Roof better be bolted on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to be with you both. Yeah. Thanks,
Chris.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Always appreciate Chris and his time. We love having him on Mammoth Daily, and we'll get him back just as soon as we can for his next visit. Always brings so much insight and so much fun and so much passion about the Utah Mammoth. President of Hockey Operations, Chris Armstrong. Well, let's talk about pace, because everybody knows the Mammoth are fast. The Mammoth are skilled. And that's the way that they were built and the way that they want to play. But there's more to pace than just skating fast. It's quick decision-making on passing, driving to the net, shooting, everything. Everything's fast. Mammoth want to do everything fast. Here's Bear talking about the pace.
When you want to attack quickly, you cannot be complicated. I think that's a little bit what I mean by making 7 passes before taking a shot. Most likely you will try to force one at some point, because when you're too slow to attack, the opponent get inside. And now there's not really anything clean open. So now, because of that, if you want to get something, you need to force it. So I think the fact we put more pucks at the net, that creates some seam, some hole on the next play, because they have to get out of their structure. And the fact we don't let them get too set in their structure, that help. But that's what it is.
So that's what it is. If you wanted a little more explanation on when the Mammoths say they want to play with pace, because they say that a lot. It's part of who they are and their team identity. Folks, fun Wednesday, largely in part from the 3-2 victory in Washington last night. Thanks to Chris Armstrong for popping by. That made it so much fun. And it's always fun to talk about pace too. So appreciate you joining me for this edition of Mammoth Daily. Mike is back with me on tomorrow's episode, and so is Dom Moore. He'll be our Thursday expert, and he's going to talk to us about being a player the week of the trade deadline. The trade deadline is Friday at 1. We'll keep covering it for you. Mammoth Daily. If you didn't hear yesterday's episode, David Pinota from the Fourth Period NHL Network and Sirius XM NHL joined Mike in the third period on Tuesday's episode. Just a great conversation. He's one of the best in the NHL and gave us a lot of insight, and we'll keep working towards more as we get closer to that trade deadline. But hope you had a chance to catch David. If you haven't, you can go back and catch our Tuesday mailbag. Had some great questions there starting around the 15-minute mark, and then David Pinota. So we appreciate it. Dom Moore tomorrow. Mike will be back with me. We'll see what else we have in store for the third period. Always efforting here on Mammoth Daily, and we appreciate you joining us wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, Utah Mammoth YouTube page, Mammoth Plus, SCG Plus. If you could like us, if you could share us, tell a friend, the more the merrier. And of course, looking forward to that Friday free-for-all. We'll grab some topics, and the topics were submitted by you. You might win a gift card to the Utah Mammoth Team store. And again, not too late to submit a topic for our Friday free-for-all, something you want me and Mike to discuss on Friday's episode. If we select it, we'll give you a gift card to the team store. Folks, have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back for the Thursday game day edition against Philly with Dom Moore and a 5 p.m. puck drop from the outskirts of downtown Philly coming up for game 2 of this 5-game road trip.